to the home of the Black Titanic after Obama ordered the assassination of the leader, Gaddafi. Many Africans was forced into slavery. So to escape, they took to the Mediterranean Sea where many died. This bears similarity to the blacks who was on board the Titanic, but there was no lifeline, so many perished and was buried under the sea. Again, welcome to the home of Black Titanic.
Didn't have someone like Nika who has seen me grow from a kid in high school to the man I am now. Yeah, I'm very appreciative.
You see, look, you see what's on the wall when you walking?
Yeah. Already. That's it. Most definitely.
You got a lot
Yeah.
of successful things happening.
Trying to get this business handle. What we got?
We got ebooks coming out. A lot of people have hit up because they see you working out, they see you doing what you do.
Yeah.
You losing weight, looking good. So being healthier, this is a new cover that I did bring back. Although this is something that you need to approve. Also, changing the cover of the cookbook.
Oh yeah, we had to get my naked ass off the front of the book.
Yeah, I think this was a better term for it. You want to look at that.
So the focus of this cookbook is really about clean eating. Vegetarian, vegan, Mediterranean, and several other methods of cooking. And the original cover of this cookbook had me.
He lost his wife, his nuclear family, and lucrative business opportunities. And you guys saw that none of the companies no longer want to go with Martel because of that scandal, because they didn't want to risk their own company or failing, or other people not wanting to deal with them because they dealing with Martel. That's just how bad it got. This man had $1 million contract, y'all, in his hand, and he risked it all because of his nature, because of him being a little boy.
Well, there's a difference between humility, hope, and holding hope.
Yeah, I saw that when I walked in. There's hope. I was like, oh, okay.
That's right. My personal empire is growing all the time, and I'm glad that Chris is taking notice. He and his wife have always been great friends to Martel and I, but I am curious as to what brings him to my office now that there isn't a marriage that needs to be helped and saved.
I came over today to kind of get a little conversation going here about the 47 acres. The famous 47 acres that kind of brought your group together.
Just brought us together into a spark. Double-edged sword. Is the deal moving forward? Is it not moving forward?
The deal is moving forward. We're trying to close on it.
Okay. Selling the 47 acres to Chris's investor honestly is bittersweet. It represents the dream that I shared with Martel and the Comeback Group and the Scotts, but it will also be a relief to get rid of it.
I had spoken with one of the investor that's purchasing the land. We're going to be building about 40 plus single family homes out there. And talking to the developer, we were wondering if you would be interested in maybe building a couple of custom homes.
Oh. Wow. When are they looking at getting started?
It'll probably be within the next 45, 60 days.
What's the price point looking like for the homes?
Probably $250 and up.
Okay. I know how passionate Martel has been about this project, and I wouldn't want his feelings and ego to get, involved.
In honoring of my great aunt Melinda, who died on the Titanic over 100 years ago, I'll dedicate this poem to her by Langston Hughes. The Negro speaks of the river. It reminds me of her aboard the Titanic, only she was in the Atlantic Ocean. The Negro speaks of the river. I remember when the slaves used to say, now the worstest thing you can do is get caught in that Mississippi River. Yeah, no way out if you got caught in the Mississippi River, says the slaves. But what about the Atlantic Ocean? All known rivers, ancients of the world, and older than the flow of human blood and human veins. My soul has grown deep like the river. My soul has grown deep like the river. The Negro speaks of the river. What about my great aunt Melinda and Joseph LaRue? These are two people that perished above the Titanic. And honoring your ancestors, I honor you. Today, I will be dedicating this section of the video to the blacks that died aboard the Titanic, April the 14th to April the 15th, 1912. The Titanic hit an iceberg and sank. And as you guys know, blacks was not listed, or they don't list the blacks among the Titanic. So anyway, they did, after I wrote my book and started talking about my great aunt being on the Titanic, after they done keep saying incorrect, no blacks was not on the Titanic, especially my auntie, then they found Joseph LaRue and his biracial family. But Joseph LaRue was, he was like a prince. His uncle was the president of Haiti. And at that time, y'all remember it, also the Haiti Revolution. His grandfather helped lead the Haiti Revolution. So, you know, he was trying to say he was like a prince, royalty, very important. So they knew they had to sign that black man up on the Titanic, make sure that he was there. But anyway, let me go ahead on and read this to y'all. I'm just babbling. Titanic victim Melinda Borden, who is my grandfather's sister, y'all. That's why it's so important that y'all talk to the elders in your family and learn about your oral history. If you don't tell it, nobody else gonna tell your history. A lot of history that you guys don't know, because the larger society is not going to tell you about anything that's going on with you and your family. Anyway, my auntie drowned at sea as she was working aboard the Titanic. Lifeboats were made available to white women and white children only. The black workers were not listed among the passenger or victims. They were only listed among property that was lost. The facts they don't tell you. So let's get into it. Let's go. Let's talk about Melinda Borden and Joseph LaRue, honoring our ancestors. Finally, I want to honor my ancestor that was on the Titanic. The Negro Speaks of the River by Langston Hughes, written in 1921. All known rivers, ancient as the world, and older than the flow of human blood and human veins. My soul has grown deep like the rivers. I bathed in the Euphrates when dawns were young. I built my hut near the Congo, and it loved me to sleep. I looked up on the Nile and raised the pyramid above it. Oh, I heard the singing. Oh, I heard the singing of the Mississippi. when Abe Lincoln went down to New Orleans, and I've seen its muddy bosom turn all golden in the sunset. Our known rivers, ancient dusty rivers, my soul has grown deep like the rivers. My soul has grown deep like the rivers. What is your river? What is your journey in your life? Is your river running smooth? Or do you think you're drowning in your river? But whatever the case is, my soul has grown deep like the river. Oh, but the Negro speaks of the river. I remember the slaves, when the slaves would say, oh, the worst thing that could happen to you is get caught on that Mississippi River. All known rivers, ancient as the world and older than the flow of human blood in human veins. The Negro Speaks of the River by Langston Hughes, 1921.